Barcelona, the Catalan capital, was the centre of a thriving textile industry and a huge port. The Republic soon granted Catalonia home rule. The Catalans were encouraged to assert their national identity even more strongly. An army officer, Manuel Diez Alegria, was among those who feared that home rule would lead to the breakup of the Spanish state.
The Catalans made silly mistakes, such as bothering people who went to Catalonia, telling visitors that they had to speak Catalan, things like that. All this created the impression that they might destroy the unity of the nation, given that they didn't hesitate to proclaim their separatist motives.
National unity obsessed army officers. Spain had already lost most of its world empire. In the Moroccan Wars of the 20s, it nearly lost one of its last foreign possessions. Francisco Franco helped to turn defeat into victory and became a general at the age of only 33. The Republic planned to reform the army, which was so archaic and top-heavy that there was one officer to every 11 soldiers. The army regarded these changes with heavy suspicion, but it was a grant of self-government to Catalonia, which conservative officers saw as the most immediate threat to the unity of the nation. August 10th, 1932. General Sanjurjo led an unsuccessful rising against the government. 16 months earlier, as commander of the police, he had decided not to resist the coming of the Republic. Now his action was a warning that the loyalty of the armed forces was coming under strain. General Sanjurjo was imprisoned, but the government allowed him to entertain his family and supporters. In Madrid, the government's victory over the rising was celebrated with parades and demonstrations in support of the Republic. The Sanjurjo rising was premature. The right wing and the traditional powers in Spanish society were not yet ready to overthrow the Republic, but they detested the reforms, and their alarm was growing. On the left, too, disillusionment was spreading. The hungry, the landless, the unemployed, and the underpaid were beginning to confront the state openly. One source of this left-wing opposition was anarchism, gathered round its trade union, the CNT, born during the bloody social conflicts of Barcelona in the early years of the century. The CNT's creed was anarcho-syndicalism, the belief that revolution would lead to total worker self-management. Although the anarchist movement had weakened in the rest of Europe, in Spain it had prospered. By 1932, the CNT claimed over 1 million members. Frederica Montseny was a young anarchist leader.
I believe there's something different, special about Spaniards, created by the mixture of so many different races, by their history, and by constant oppression. They were oppressed first by feudalism, then by an all-powerful bourgeoisie, by an army that has always cast its long shadow over Spain, by the pressure of the church. And all of this has created a constant spirit of rebellion among Spaniards. It has driven them towards ideas of emancipation, towards revolutionary concepts of society and of life.
When the Republic was proclaimed in 1931, the anarchists declared, "We remain in open war with the state." They rejected all governments, monarchies or republics. They fought for a society of equal, cooperating human beings, freed from the curses of private property, God, and bosses. In Spain, extremes of poverty created a climate ripe for revolutionary violence. In January 1933, anarchists led futile risings in several Andalusian villages. One of them was Casas Viejas. The police showed the villagers no mercy. Prisoners were shot. One house defended by anarchists was set alight, and the occupants died. The blame for these tragedies was put on the Republican leaders. The Socialists decided to pull out of the government, disgusted at scandals like Casas Viejas, delaying the reforms, and mounting unemployment. New elections were called in 1933. The Socialist left was now losing faith in the whole parliamentary system. The anarchists had never believed in it anyway. Most of the right had not yet rejected parliamentary democracy. They hoped that by winning the elections, they could still halt and reverse the whole tide of events. A new party emerged on the right. It was called the Theta. This was Spain's first mass Catholic party. Its leader was the ambitious young José María Gil Robles, who had learned from the campaign style of the Nazis. The right wing made a supreme effort to bring out its voters. It was helped by women who were voting for the first time. Ironically, it was the Liberal Republic that had given them the franchise. The elections of November 1933 made Theta the largest party in Parliament. Gil Robles became the hero of conservative Spain. The government shifted right. The reform program slowed down or went into reverse. The left was appalled. Behind Gil Robles, they suspected the shadow of fascism was waiting.
Oggi il popolo italiano e il regime fascista sono una unità compatta, infrangibile, formidabile, che può sfidare come sfida tutti i suoi nemici e anche lanciare del peggio.
By 1934, fascism was reaching out across Europe. In Germany, the Nazis were crushing what opposition remained. The Spanish socialists were determined not to go down without a struggle. They imagined there would soon be jackboots on the streets of Madrid if Theta and Gil Robles took power. When Theta did join the government in October 1934, the Spanish socialists decided to strike back. Socrates Gómez was a member of the socialist youth.
Que había habido un proceso de regresión muy grave en la política española y que estábamos y éramos conscientes.
We felt there'd been a serious regression in Spanish politics, and we were well aware that even without a civil war, fascism could come to power in Spain, perhaps camouflaged behind politicians such as Gil Robles. And this is what led us to strike.
Y eso nos aconsejó el ir al movimiento huelguístico.
You must realize that this wasn't just another strike for things like wages or better working conditions. This was a revolutionary strike, and our aim was to overthrow the government and take power.
The socialists summoned the workers to rise against the elected government, but the insurrection was easily defeated everywhere, except in the northern mining district of Asturias. There, the whole left for once united in rebellion. Socialists and anarchists, communists and Trotskyists seized control and declared the revolution.